Well, I cut the intro short apparently. I was like, I didn't know what button I had to hit to end it. I was like, oh, I think it's this one, and then I touched the button, and that cut short the intro. So that was supposed to be a real good intro, but instead you get this. Perfect. Wait, I want to watch it. I like watching it. We're gonna try that again. Here we go. There, that was better. Learning. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. I'm gonna try to do four of these today. I don't. Lee may not be here. He had some stuff to attend to, so he may be here, may not. So we don't know. And then even I saw Frog in chat, so I was like, "Hey man, if you want to stop in," I know he's got like a streaming setup, so I'll invite him on. But or someone else. Who knows? I might even invite somebody else on. I I had to do this thing. I saw this, I think it was late last week. I've been really busy. I didn't even get the person's name on here or anything. Maybe I'll look on Twitter. There were there were so many just crazy submissions. And I think now, there's a lot more people who know like what photo shot I like and what helps me. So then they give me that shot and it's like, oh gosh, that would make a good one now. And so it's pretty crazy for that. It was actually really inspiring the other day. I was like, I put all the pictures in. I just saw, put out the tweet and saw everyone started to submit pictures and they were awesome. So we got a Godzilla here. One of the dragons, I see this is the other thing. I didn't even get to read up on this dragon. And one of the reasons, besides being it's orange, so orange, like I use orange so much in my paint overs, and then I was like, okay, wait, it's got fall leaves is another thing. I didn't know, and I know too, when I make a video of this one, there's some cool effects and stuff I can use with this layout. So that was part of the reason I ended up taking this one besides just being a beautiful model and new sculpts. I was like, all right, I'll try, like, the dragons will be popular or whatever, so maybe try to, I don't know, ride some YouTube algorithm stuff. And then yeah, so that one should be fun if I can get somewhere. This one, oh god, I told this person too, I saw this one the other week and I was like, you got to resubmit this again because this is like the the composition on this model. It's a cool model because they're going for, this is like a classic line in art. Let me see. You got this. Like you got the perfect kind of like literal shape with that. All these shapes reinforced to here. You got all that kind of, it's like a very good, cool composition. I could put a nice gun blast. So like, and it's got the leg that is forward and the hand that is forward. He has actually pointed forward, or she, I think it's a he. The the if it could have been more, like you could angle the barrel more directly at the center, but that would lose it. Like you would start getting, you would cut down on some of the angle of the cape and some of the angle on the arm. But if it was totally flat, it would be boring. So it was a perfect angle on this thing. So I think this will be really cool. I can just light up the sword slightly, and I don't know. That was just one of those where I'm like, oh, I could do something cool with it. And I don't know what it was. Like the paint scheme on this is really cool. It was just different, and I love the teal and the camera angle of it. Just with this guy getting off, and it was something about, okay, you could see these like creeping through some weird kind of foggy mist on this like thing. Just something about this one was, I was like, all right, and I shouldn't even try to do four, but I'll end up finishing them after or whatever. But I kind of want to go. Some of them, it's like, okay, if I think, there's usually just something in my mind that'll be like, hey, I could pull off something with this. I got like an idea, and I tend to try to pick those just because I know on stream, maybe I have a little more success with it, or it comes out okay. Hey, Blood Medusa, thanks for making it. Ryan Taylor, appreciate you stopping by and thank you for the tip. That goes a long way. The dragons are so cool. Yes, they are. Oh, yeah. I see. I don't even know if I'll have time to go over some of the pictures. There's a Godzilla, and it's like another, I don't know what dinosaur he had fighting next to it. This one, there's a great other picture of this with this Godzilla, and then I think it is a Seraphon next to it, or maybe it's just a T-Rex. I don't know, but they're growling at each other, and that thing they look so cool. So yeah, I want to. Whew, I didn't delete anything. This one had fall leaves, and I don't know this character enough. Like I think I read a bit about the dragons. I was like, all right, I don't know. Is this like a fire breathing one? Is it like a lightning one? Is it does it hang out in the forest? Like what's its deal? And that was the only bummer for me. So if there's anybody who has just a little information on this that can type it in here, that'll kind of help me. I did not have time to go just like look up and read that brief paragraph that probably sums it up right from Games Workshop, because that would probably help make this. I I don't know if there's any, I don't think lightning, but I plan in the videos too now. I'm like, okay, I got a couple cool lightning effects like that would work with this, but I don't think it was a lightning. I don't remember how this got scarred either. And so I wanted to try to play something up, but we'll see. And I didn't do much at all on these, so we'll see if I get much done at all. Lee has a bit of a busy day. He may be joining us a bit later. I'll snag some of this. Okay, Kurzai the Scarred is his name. I paint him to emulate Fall Autumn. He is scarred by lightning. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, beautiful work, by the way, this thing. And I don't know what it is. I try to figure out why I like orange so much, and it may be because I liked fall a lot, even as a kid. And I think I associate like orange with the fall leaves or something. And I know it works in paintovers because, just heat, like fireballs, whatever, a lot of things that, spark energy are orange. But I literally think it's because of fall leaves. Ryan, Ryan Taylor, I tweeted him. I'm like, oh yeah, make sure you submit. He tipped me, and I was like, oh, make sure you submit a model, like at least next week or whatever. And he said, oh, that would mean I'd have to paint a model. I was like, modeler after my own heart. Blast from the past. Thanks for making it, and thanks for submitting another awesome picture this week. You do Blast from the past. Has been doing some really kind of, to me it's kind of like storytelling in the pictures. He's been doing a lot of it. I did like a commission for him, I believe, and then I don't know if I did a couple free ones or one or not, I don't know, but there's some good storytelling in those. I enjoy a lot. Medusa, what are you working on next? Do you have a model that's on your workbench now that you can talk about or anything? Just curious. Let me put some leaves up in here. Did my computer just go dead? No? Oh, okay. Whew. Roves the beast realm looking for vengeance, has a twisted soul from his war scroll. Oh, that's what this, I mean, I go by with like, what the painter kind of intended, but it's interesting to know that that is the interesting. And usually Lee's here. He'll be here, and then I get to learn everything from Lee. Well, and obviously the people who watch and chat with, because they all pretty much know a little bit more about the Lee than me. The lore. Oh, and worst idea ever. So up. Hey, Forge. Glad you could stop in real quick. Dun, dun, dun. So fall. We are going to go with the fall theme. If we have leaves, that does usually mean we should have trees. So that changes things for me a little bit because trees, you need a little that like because of the lines, I could do the composition. If it was, oh, I could have like stuff on fire behind them. Blood Medusa says I'm currently working on finishing up some commissions for some D&D characters into Red Gobbo. I don't. It's weird. I okay. So D&D was like the game I started with, and I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously 40K became, I don't know, like another game that I loved because it was a little that little bit of extra grit in 40K. And I think for me it was those early artists like in the 80s and 90s that was it was slightly different from D&D. And D. And so even though I love both genres, just that little extra grit that those artists had at the time kind of really pulled me into that. Haha. Oh, good. Your daughter's getting. Oh, is there the birthday presents? Good. Maybe I should get some loot. And see, I was telling some sort of story that was supposed to have a point, and I think I got halfway through it and then stopped. So I tell pointless stories. I've been busy, and I'm all half exhausted. I slept like 5 hours last night. I slept four before and three the day before that. So I haven't been getting much sleep. And usually with this stuff, I try to get a general idea before I even start the stream of what I'm going to do. And I didn't do that this time, so it may be a lot of just like starting and resetting. What a cool, I love the light. Like this photo because of you get this really good shadow under this wing. And so, okay, and if you look at like the covers, right, for like Games Workshop, and they're like painted covers. So that's one of the first things you notice is that up view, right? Like 95% of the time they have that. And probably another, at least I would say like 80% of the time, probably more, they always have like the image has some heavy shadow. So it's that contrast. If you have a, like Medusa here has a really nice bright chest on this of the face, right? And the lighting, it reinforces that. And so it pushes the face forward. So even though the body and the head of this model is probably on this angle technically smaller than the surface area of those wings, the wings are still pressed back because they're in the shadow and the light's falling on that chest and that scar. So it's like brilliant photography and lighting on top of it. And then the shadows under the wings, when I start putting a tinted layer over that, it's really going to add depth. So I can really make that wing look like it's more looming and that there's like mist or whatever underneath it. I'll try to give people some information that might help on theirs. I retweeted, there was a great one. I usually don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, but There was one, it was, I don't know who the person was. It just happened to pop in my YouTube feed. I usually don't even click on anything because then they start spamming you with nonsense. But this one was about the art style of the Dune movie and how it was filmed and why. And like, they didn't use green screen. So it talked, like, the main thing is it talked a lot about light, actually. And it was some of the things I've been meaning to kind of try to convey and like give out in one of those like little infographics or whatever. But so in the Dune movie, they used in typical movies they use green screen, and so there's some great breakdowns in that video of what happens. And because light reflects off of every object around you, if you're in a studio and you have green screens, just there's no way around it. It's like you're not going to get that same life as like little bits of light bouncing off bottles or cups or your monitor or any of that. So they what they did in Dune is they didn't use green screens, they used sand colored screens. So then when they used the effects didn't have to cheat as much. So they could bounce some light off of the sand screen and then it would be reflected and at least be the right color. So they could play more tricks with that real lighting instead of like a super forced lighting where like they use the example they'll show like a character running with an explosion behind them, but the tone on their face and the color and the stuff going on with the person's face never changes. Even though there's like an explosion behind you, that brightness is reflecting off like structure in front of you and anything that's in front of you, and then that's bouncing off your face. So there was a lot of subtle, great information in there that I think for painting miniatures and for taking photos of them and how you approach it with your light that would help a lot of people, or at least give them something to like think about. Not that people need help, but it's just, I think you could kind of expand different things. Like I always want to dabble with, you'll have a, say like some space marine, right? And it'll be like a gun that would be shooting, say, a orange plasma, and then on the other hand, they would have um, like a blue sword, right? So I imagine if you had little light, all right, like even mini ones, like the mini flashlight, and you'd have like a blue light, you could almost light that side or put a piece of paper and bounce light off of it to put legit blue light on the blue sword, and then use some sort of mini light source to put orange light on the side with the orange gun. And you could light it that way just with a little bit of color. And I don't know, I know people are doing it in the background and stuff, but I think if you even like pushed it like a little bit onto individual weapons and on the model, I'd be real curious what you could get to. Yeah, but I'm talking all about that. It's in one of the tweets from like today. I don't know. It was like a couple ago, but there's a video link in there. Definitely check it out. And like behind the scenes kind of stuff in Dune and all that. So if you're into that movie, it's cool for that. But the art direction and stuff on that thing I thought was incredible. Oh, see, look at that. I just bumped this up a little bit, and that's gonna make the that shadow and everything even that much deeper. Because he makes a great point in that video, and it's the same thing I'm doing here. Is you you I don't want to fight like the model, or I don't want to fight against like this one was brilliantly painted and all that, and it already has the lighting, so I don't have to fight. I'm not trying to restructure light or rebend light. I can just take what's already here and put the atmosphere around it. I did not eat like all day, and then for lunch, like before the show, I got, oh my God, it's like I should not do this on show day. I got White Castles, right? So you didn't eat all day, and then I got a White Castle meal with like four sliders, plus I got the onion chip and a Coke. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I have headphones on, and the speakers on my headphones. I'm like, I hope they cannot hear my stomach growling from there. It's just like gurgling. I'm like, oh boy, that's probably too much information, but whatever. In case you hear some weird gurgling, you know what it is. White Castle's on an empty stomach for show. Live dangerously. Hmm. And like this one, I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do, but I know I was going to punch up some of that environmental light around this. And so I just do this part until something starts to like click for me. You know, I'm like, oh, I know there's going to be leaves, so I put some leaves. I know that light is going to be a little amped up. Blood Medusa Paints has KFC on the way. You know, I I'll get my dad pot pies from there still sometimes when I go over there, and I know I stopped there to get chicken a couple times, and I think because of like it probably wasn't for maybe like 4 weeks ago or something was the last time I was at KFC, and the chicken strips were super tiny. You know what I mean? I was like, oh gosh, I knew they had some chicken supply things, so I hope they straighten that out. Because every once in a while, I'd probably go there like KFC once a month or something. I like their whatever, they're just their Nashville hot spicy stuff. Ah. Wait, Sebastian, Sebastian. I somehow I know not no Sebastian, but I've seen it around. What did you say? Before and After has a nice article about the Dune sand screen and the other things titled "The Dune Visual Effects Team Uses Sand Screen Instead of Blue Screen." Okay. Forge of Mars says if you got Disney Plus, check out the Beetle films by Peter Jackson. Jackson. Oh, okay. He's edited them together. KFC. You would have been having KFC too, Forge? Huh. I knew they had them there, but before I just didn't know if your average person even thought of KFC over there. I've been, whatever, I have a lot of stuff going on right now in a good way, but just crazy busy. And it's the best part of it. So, I mean, okay, I do know a little bit of exercise and some walks with a dog. So I don't think like nothing like physical activity where you'd expect someone to be like losing some weight or whatever. But because I've been sitting in a chair and just drawing so much and like whatever, I've just been like half skipping meals and then all that stuff. I've been so I'm not thinking about eating. I like don't even go get a snack. Then I've like a couple pounds I think in the last week. Like as the diet, just sit in a chair and draw all day and lose weight. Perfect. Did I screw? Oh no, I didn't screw that up. So I know there's leaves. So then, how about I try to put? Oh, Ryan Taylor said there's zinger wraps in the UK are the one of the things I miss. I remember the little zinger sandwiches. I like their just that little, they have that mini sandwich. Here, I do Arby's sometimes for their. They have their like happy hour around. I think it's like 2 to whatever, and They have like their quote unquote sliders. And that's kind of what if I'm like lazy on one of those days, I'll stop and get like 2 sliders or something. Gotta have the leaves. So I usually put them in, and I kind of try to warp some stuff or whatever because if anyone ever does mess with this program, like Procreate, it's just some of a quick warp like this starts to give stuff some dynamics. It'll like almost looks like maybe the wing is like blowing the leaves and stuff. So I'm just trying to get some sort of composition going. And like right now, how I have it, it's still not kind of tied to the environment. And so probably end up now, like I would pause on here for a second. I know I got to put, some kind of thing to play up those. Maybe there's down trees or whatever, but it's tricky because if I put full trees like he's in a forest, right? Then because the trees are tall, if they were tall, he would become smaller just by comparison to the trees. So it's a kind of a compromise where you want him like the biggest object, like he dominates everything in there. So if you put big trees, he just becomes a little less dominant because you have something to compare it to. But if there's nothing even close to that scale, then it's just like, bam, I'm the biggest thing here. So I'm going to go pop around on some of the other ones real quick and then get back to this one after I come up with more of a game plan. Yeah, Forge, I had to do this one. It was submitted even last week, but this is just and I want to put I don't even know what these vents are, but to me they're always sparking. I'm like every picture I'm like, oh, I gotta do the sparking vents. And so I was like, oh yes, I can do because it's blue, you can have that like gold spark coming out of there and it's gonna contrast great. I'm a I'm a one trick pony with gold sparkles. I didn't know I was so into sparkles when I started doing paintovers. Yeah, that's why if I do this one right, there was another one where I chose this because I figured I'm like, okay, if I do the gun blast right, like a nice explosion off there and light it, and then maybe energize the sword and put that, like I almost don't really need a background. I can be really vague with it, and I can make it push that perspective again. I don't know. I'm a nerd when it comes to perspective. It just brings me joy when I don't even know. Like I don't even have to talk to about it with anybody or whatever. But even I'll bring up Dune again because the movie shots in there like were just compositionally brilliant, and I just like something about that. It's almost like your little Zen piece where you look at something that's like just soothing. You're like, okay, it flows good. The old razzle dazzle. Yeah, you got to put some sparks so they like think you're doing something. It's like you throw a bunch of glitter around and stuff, and then it's like you really got something. Like when in doubt, glitter it out. So here we're gonna try to push. I don't know how yet, but I want to push that angle, right? So it's already like this V type, sideways V shape. So I want to play that up somehow. And you have the environment it should have kind of wind, whatever, because you got that cake flowing, right? So you want to play with that. So I figure that's why these lines in here kind of follow right along with that. And they're basically reinforcing this same kind of shape right here. So that's what I want to try to push. And that by pushing that in the background, it makes the foreground even seem more like that. I don't know what color sky. I could go like a deeper blue maybe. Deeper shade of soul. I need everyone, the good streamers, I have like this. Well, usually it's with Lee, so we don't really need one, but the, they'll have like some sort of subtle background music that's soothing you instead of my pen. I don't, do I have to draw on rhythm or something? Can I like tap a awesome song while doing this? I will go. Oh, do I have one here? I might have to go to the other room to get the pen tip. We'll see. See, and then here it's already not doing what I want it to do. So I'm going to switch again and drop in what I know will be a gun blast. And I, not that I mind what people, but it's always like, oh, give me the last little pieces. I don't know why I always want like the whole model, because then even here I wouldn't have to like fudge it or whatever, you know what I mean? So if you do in the future try to get those in, it just helps me a little bit, but I can probably go bright enough. Whistle while you're speaking. I can't. That's one of the things. I cannot whistle. Yeah, I would do a request for. I know that would be it. If I could do both and then have like a music streaming one and a paint stream going, it'd be perfect. Oh, that's gonna be cool. I just like that big foreground explosion. I think. See, and then here I get so picky. Like I'm like, okay, should that left border might be like literally like a couple pixel, maybe like 4, 5, 10, 20 pixels longer. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like the explosion itself should carry the color a little bit further. Oh, yeah, I want that. Oh, and I could put some off the cape. Here we go. That was a normal layer. I didn't do this yet. So this is the area where I'll sometimes show people, they're like, oh, it needs to be lighter. I'm like, yeah, my stuff generally does need to be a little lighter in some circumstances, but I generally do this because it's the best way. Oh, see, now watch. I already like this. Who was sashimi? Oh gosh, I forget. It's sashimi, but and oh, thank you. I don't know. He might not even be listening, but sashimi, thank you for joining the Patreon. I appreciate it. And he made the funniest joke. I was literally cracking up. I want to. He said it perfectly, and I've spoken with him before on like Twitter chat and stuff. So me and him have spoken, and like a few times. So I already have like a bit of his personality. I know how like he speaks and all that. And I don't know what he said. I said something about how I'd be babbling on the show, and he made some joke. It still makes me want to crack up. I should read it right now. I'd probably bust out laughing. He said something. He's like, "Yeah, if I met a woman who prattles on about paintovers like you do, I would put a ring on it." I just like, I don't even know why. It's probably not funny to anyone else, but that just cracked me up. And I was really like, I think I have to like put that on a mug or something. I thought it was like so on brand for Artist Empire. Oh, see, there you go. And it's the same. So they already have the lighting on this model, right? So all I'm doing, and here's the thing that I wonder too. I always do these paint overs, right? And I kind of like my shtick is like, I'll bump up the contrasts. I'm usually putting that tinted layer on, and then I bring everything back out, and it's like it's literally just usually their same paint scheme, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I wonder if I would attempt something like that when I was doing a miniature. You know what I mean? I keep thinking, well, if I was painting a miniature, would I really try to like crank up that kind of contrast and depth? And what would be the point and how would I do it? You know what I mean? So I actually do think about that a lot because I got to paint some minis. I'm looking forward to it actually. But I mean, I think the other day I literally worked 20 or 21 hours. One of the other things is that, oh, I don't even have my, turn on my computer up here. There, 9 viewers. Thanks for making it. The If you're ever in Procreate or mess with this, so I have this layer is over it. So I have a whole tinted layer, and then I put an overlay layer. It's weird. I don't. This layer, it brightens it up, so you're almost bringing it back to where it normally was. That's literally basically, but sometimes it just adds a little tint of color to it. And then if I really want to brighten things, I go here, I select the outline. So all I'm grabbing is the pixels of the Space Marine, and then I go to the layer that's set on multiply. I pick up an eraser. I usually go like soft airbrush. I put it on a super low percent. And now all I'm doing is on that tinted layer, I'm just erasing a little bit of that tint. So it's making that area brighter where I'm erasing. And then this is how I use it to force the visuals where I want them, right? Because then I can control this part's a little darker, I push it back. This part's a little lighter, and I can reinforce the elements and, you know, really push that depth. Like the back foot, I'll leave a little more in darkness. You know what I mean? I'll brighten the sword out, so I'll delete or erase that. It's cool. I love this bit of shadow from the gun on there. All right, so see, we're already getting there. I'm like, that one's good, and then I'll end up lightening some of the background. I might erase more of this, but just in the background area, is to make the sky lighter and to make the ground more, visible and that. But at least this starts to give me an idea of where I'm going with this one. This one, I've been like, oh, okay, first of all, is he like charging up in the throat with red type of energy with his eyes? That's kind of what I see. And I'm like, but I didn't know for sure he's got the cool orange. Like whatever I know is it looks cool. So he always had like I know Godzilla would have the lightning on his back, but I'm wondering if that's what he's literally doing it like he's charging up, or is it just that he has him painted red like that? But I think I'm gonna go charging up. But if anyone has a different opinion, feel free to let me know. Gosh, what a cool, look at this thing. And then with this, I had this, and so all I did was I roughed up this ground, and the first thing I did was, he's got the tail with the thing swaying. So this model itself has good energy because he's got that, and he's got the thing on his neck swaying. So I kind of pulled some of that dust around. I obfuscated it and was just like, hey, let me pull some of that around so it gets more there. Fudge it up a little bit so it's not so clean to look at. Like the focus, a lot of times that's what I'll do too on the bases is I'll, rough some of it up and smudge it around and that just to take the focus off of it so you get more focus on the model itself. I do have fun with this. I can't help it. Thanks, Echo. It is a blast to me. And then, and I didn't have time on the stream. I want to, maybe I'll do that another day. Yeah, that could be a good show because everyone submitted this great stuff, and I want to kind of go through them and talk about it. Because I'm like, well, if I'm gonna prattle on and babble about paintovers, I want to try to like, I don't know, like help people with some little artistic thing or something. You can only prattle on nonsense for so long before they find out. But look at I get to do lightning on his back. Yes. And you know how it is. You always watch these Godzilla ones, and then someone submitted a Godzilla, and I'm like, awesome. Wait, am I on a different? Yep. I want to overlay a layer. So this one I already had that tinted layer. It's a shadow. I tint it sometimes if it should be there, and a lot of times it's just gray. So then I can play up. Like this has a few colors on it, so I basically use just gray because then I could individual. It's not overall one direction. Wasn't One Direction some band or something? Thanks, Ryan. What's funny is I do all these streams and Lee and I like when I talk with Lee, I just love hear he knows a lot. So for lore and stuff, it's great for me because I get to catch up on things and I just like talking about it. So, but I feel bad. I'm like, oh, you know what? Some people might actually want to hear about like the paint over process, and I like never talk about it. Same thing. I just kind of amp up the areas I know I'm going to need something on. And here it get a little wonky because I should have. So if you probably can't even see it, right? So there's just this little area that bled outside. Let's see. All right, this is going to be cool if I can do this right. It's like you're always on the verge of a clown show. I tried, I grabbed a couple backgrounds. I don't know, I was like, okay, sometimes I grab like a picture of a sky and then warp it and twist it and just, use it for whatever. And I didn't like too much sky in there. That's too something. Just things so like, it's got so much power in it. I gotta, and like if you can do that thing where he's like really glowing from the, what's the term? By the not bifurcation. It's when light is, like if you put a light under. like against your thumb or something. You'll see the light glow through it and you can see the bone through it. Um, and that's called a term, but I don't know it. Was I drawing on this? Did I just do that on that? No. A lot of times I'll use the same layer and you're stacking it. So then I'm stacking the light. And so I'll be like, okay, the first layer tints all these, and then the second layer goes through and tints it again. Because if I want to do this part right, I have to go in and really be subtle and make it look like it's glowing like he did and reinforce everything a little bit. Yes, thank you, Sebastian. Sebastian knows it. Subsurface scattering. So that's when you got light pushing through the skin or pushing through, like this light is coming through this. Subsurface scattering. That's I What's funny is how many times I'll have some viewers. I mean, hey, like 9, 10 people, and it's not like it's a ton, but I'll ask questions and then somebody already always like has the answer. It's pretty funny. And there's another one, I forget what the other one is called. But yeah. It's good having people here, talk about this, and then you kind of find out what people are half interested in, and then some of it, I'm like, I want to do some more of those little like I have that little infographic card, like on composition, and I want to do a couple other ones that might help people. I'm trying to think of, okay, what information is, I think people could gain from, and I want it to be, kind of simple for them, like actionable. It's like, yeah, here's my tip. Paint for 20 more years and then you'll get good. It's like I want something like actionable. It's like, hey, here, do this, and you do a little like and something quick, that someone can just, hey, I never thought of this. I'll do that, and it'll, this effect. I love this thing. I had the idea of this thing just, swinging in the dark, all kind of lit up still from the glow. Such a, and you could tell the artist was thinking it as they're making this, and so it's so fun to me to play with because it's, I don't know, it's like I said, the only thing I can come close to is like when you were like drawing comics with your friends as a kid or whatever, you like want to make something and that. See, and then I can bump up this area. And I probably need a little lighter blue. I was laughing, I made a tweet about it. There's these like really good paintings, and I've like a couple of people, I've interacted with for quite a while, and I like follow them on Twitter, and I'd see all these paintings coming out, and they're like incredible to me, right? And I had just assumed there was two people like this, for sure, and there's probably more, where I was looking at and the work they did and how good it was, and I just assumed they were full-time commission painters. And I text them like, oh, this and that, and like, oh no, I do this after work and after the kids go to sleep. It's like, yeah, my side hobby is being a brilliant painter. That's nice. Yeah, I just make a little brilliance on the side when I come home. Put the kids home. You know how it is. Or put the kids in bed. Make some art. Super talented in my spare time. And then you do something like this, and then this might end up bothering me or being too much, so I would go take out this whole layer and start again, depending on how annoyed I get with myself. Like I might have should have just used this tool. Yeah, that should have been the one I used right from the rip. So then I'm just adding a little bit in here. And a lot of times on these layers like this, I don't know if I added too much. I want to say I assume I did, even though I don't think it would matter because I could do some stuff with the background. Okay, that's still all on there. But then a lot of times, yeah, this is going to look cool, but it might take me some work. So then sometimes again, so I have two layers of this overlay layer, right? And I basically use it for lighting. So like that's too bright, and then I may turn it down, and then I may open another of these same layers and then go back again and re-highlight all the little details. So sometimes it's like, three different rounds like that to get it right. Oh, so the stream, okay, it does say right now, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming because of my bit rate, but that should change for a second. Every once in a while on these streams, for some reason the bit rate will get wonky for a few and then it'll come back. So if it is slightly pausing in that, it's just because of my, and I don't know why. I've tested my internet a million times. It has nothing to do with that, but it's something. Sometimes I turn down the what on the settings. I forget what it is. But anywho, every once in a while I get the bitrate issue, which I don't get. And that's unfortunate because I hate bouncy, staticky shows. Well, it usually sorts itself. Frog, why is your pen tapping out SOS? I have a mic on. I can't be all making crummy sound effects like a child on. And why now it's bothering me that the YouTube is not receiving enough info. And it's still poor. When did it start? At 2:44. So it's been going on for 3 minutes with the screwy bit rate. And it says, so here's the deal. It doesn't even say that my bit rate is low. It says my bit rate is higher. It's too high. And so sometimes it'll say it's low, and it's like sometimes too high. Like, wouldn't your bit rate being high help you? So I obviously don't work in computers. Well, Medusa says that looks amazing. Thank you very much. It'll get there. These are so good. That's my problem with the ones that are always like just super above and beyond is because then I know they can be cool, but there's sometimes like little subtle things that I won't be doing right because I'm like talking and kind of rushing through, and then afterwards I'm like, hey, a lot of times in the evening I'll literally like lay in bed sometimes like 11 o'clock or whatever, and then pick up the tablet and draw from there. No, it's me for some reason with my bit rates too high. And it might have been because of I change a little setting in the thing, but I'll find out. because I do not like that. It actually bothers me. Now a little neutral light. He's still all in the dark. I want to amp up his face. So he has a small head, and so I have to put light on it to get it there so it stands out. So that's another reason, like, I do that because, like I said, it draws the attention. I'll do a little bit on the foot here, but I'm trying to keep the majority of it right here on his head. Yeah, now it says that I have excellent stream, blah, blah, blah. That is, the, like, networking people and stuff. And I've always had really good, at this place, really good internet. So do a lot of stuff with no, I mean, minimal issues, right? But then, you're working with, I'll have like a thing, you're working with your computer, you're working with something like YouTube. I have my tablet plus my phone, and all these things are connecting, going through your router, and then you're having some bit rate issue. It's like, where? You know what I mean? Like, what one of these 12 connections and 10 reasons would something be happening? And no one ever really knows. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you just got to try all this million things to figure it out, and then you might not. Ryan. Yeah. And sometimes I select him. You can see this energy went outside of him. So I select it, select, invert, and now I'm going to erase the bright stuff that was around that. That keeps the background. In general, a lot of what you're doing with the whole paint over process, 90% of it or whatever, is if you have something bright, put something dark behind it. If you have something dark, put something bright behind it. It's like, it's just contrast. It's like, okay, these would really be glowing, so let me put that. And it's a little too dark now because it looks like you just stuck it, because of how I did the background, it looks like you just like kind of stuck it in a photo booth and did it. So I'll have to put some slight bit of atmosphere in there and depth in the sky. But for right now, I'm just making sure I get the kind of look I'm heading for. And the scale, because he's so big, you want some sort of mini reference for scale, right? It's like, okay, well, is he as big as a house? Is he as big as a bridge? Is he only as big as a car? And this, it's kind of, you can't tell because I have no reference point. So I might try to solve that a little bit with something. For a second, I'm going to switch to another one. Let's go to this one. I still don't know what I'm doing on this one. Something in my head was like, oh yeah, this would be awesome. But then something else in my head said, yeah, if someone else did it who knew what they were doing. Like, I don't know how the light, so it's got that, I feel it, right? It's like this landing thing, and it's doing its hover, and so it'd be like pushing through some mist. I think the light I have to push some light from underneath the hovercraft. So first things first, we're gonna go here and let's see if this does anything. A lot of times this is like your hope, and then you're like, oh dude, that looks like a dumb hope. Like, don't even hope for that, because so see, I might start with something like that. And I might have to, I think too, so is this composition too, is the frame might be a little too small itself. This thing, I think it's a hover. It's not like those ones. So I might raise it up a little bit Let me see something. I probably shouldn't have cheated that right away, but I just wanted to kind of bring him a little forward, and that way it makes it look like that thing's floating a little more. Plus, my frame is a bit off. And I always hate that. I'll end up working on something, I'll have something I like, be all working, and it's like, oh, you should make it this little bit bigger, and then you have to fudge all this bottom stuff and get it to make sense now. There. Ryan, you haven't painted anything for a while. If I have the right Ryan, I assume that's you. What was the last thing you painted? If you are still here watching. In Medusa, when did you start painting? Or, I mean, you've probably been doing it all your life or whatever, but I mean, when did you start like really doing miniatures or something? I'm curious. And yeah, if someone's watching, like if you guys, I do these Wednesdays and sometimes on Saturdays. And if you think you'd be interested in like being on one of these streams, just talking art or whatever, like feel free to DM me a message or whatever, because I kind of do, want like some people I know that hey they would be interested. So if something happens, I'm like, hey, maybe the next couple days I want to stream. I could just message a few people and see if maybe one of them can join. Oh no. The puppy pushed open the door, and then he stands there and he looks at me. And he doesn't say anything, he doesn't do anything, he just. Oh, is he going out? What's he doing now? No. Ryan, you have a good one. Thank you very much. Well, I get stared down the dog by the dog. How do they have that ability? Like, I feel like I'm getting mentally manipulated by a dog. Like, they look at you, and then you're like, oh gosh, he doesn't even have to say any words, you know? It's like, and you're like, and then you feel guilted. And then I'm like, I'm an adult with a brain, and then you get manipulated by a dog. It really kind of puts it in perspective. Yeah, and then he comes up to here. So now he was by the door, and then he walks, and then he comes closer, and then he's like 3 feet from the thing, and he's just like looking. Like, come on, bro. And every time, I think too, what it is I'll be down on like almost like the other side of the house from by the kitchen, and he'll hear, because I'll be talking in here, and I'll be like talking to everyone. And I think a part of it is that, I mean, obviously this is like he just always does it around this time. He gets hungry in the evenings. Poor little guy has diabetes, so I give him all the shots every day and watch what he eats and take him for walks. Which have helped me. It probably helps me stay in shape. Wow, Blood Medusa. I've been painting minis on and off for about 5 years now. Mostly in the last two, though. It's generally now my passion, hence why I started doing commissions, hopefully with an aim of going from employed to self-employed. Very cool, very cool. I love that. I just, I don't necessarily like have like big entrepreneur things, but I just, the ability to kind of do your own stuff and have that, it, it's exciting, even if it's like scary and it's like, oh, I don't know if I can, pull this off or whatever. But that's good for you. Your work is obvious. I think it's brilliant. So hopefully it works out. It's pretty much the same thing I'm trying. I love this stuff, so the more I'm like just around it and whatever, I have all these chats so you get to know half these people. And I'm like, this is my other thing. I'm like, hey, yeah, you're doing this for promotion. I'm like, okay, yeah, but I'm like, I start after a while of doing it, I'm like, dude, the way the world looks right now, I'm probably doing it so I make connections with a bunch of cool people around the world. So then if like my country falls apart, maybe I could be like, hey, dude, can I come stay by you for a while? So like you just get like bailout points all around the world. I'm like, okay, do I know anyone in Norway in case I need to go to Norway? I need friends in Norway. Do I have friends in France? I need some French connections. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try. I don't have any of these. I'm gonna put one of these on time lapse. Um, we'll do this one. I'll do a quick time lapse of this while I go make sure the dog doesn't need to go out. I'll give him a little treat and I will set this on play. It'll probably take me just 2 minutes to get back. How do I do this? There, watch that. I'm going to pause. Back in 2 minutes. There we go. And then I'm always like, I was never like a streamer or anything. So, you know, I'm like, oh, you come here and I ate part of a cookie, right? I was like, you know, your throat's not getting sore, but, you know, you talk about it. So I was like, okay, chew something, you know, drink something, rough that up. And then you get back and you're like, oh, yeah, you put on the mic. It's like, what are you going to like burp right on mic? So, like, you got to make sure you're not grossing out everyone who's listening. All right, back to this one. What am I doing? So, should it be dark or brighter behind it? If it's hovering and I have it bright under, I think I could work what I have going on underneath it. But I don't know what to do behind it. That's the other good thing about the digital age, especially because I grew up all like the by hand pencil age, all that kind of stuff, or you know, pen and ink, and like no take backs. You know, here it's like, yeah, take back city. See if you're too, huh? A lot of times I just try stuff, bump something up, maybe you stumble onto something. I don't think this is it, but somehow there's probably something there. Frog, what are you working on? Frog said he had what you had your best stream ever yet so far recently, so that's good. And like, who else? Echo. I don't think Echo ever streams. Echo, do you ever stream? And appreciate you swinging by and submitting pics. I believe, if I'm not wrong, I did do a paintover for you like a month or so, a month and a half ago, maybe a little longer now. I don't know. That's the only reason I was like, okay, there's a couple I wanted to do a years. I'm like, I think I got one a little ways back. So that's the only reason the last couple times I haven't chose one of yours. And if I'm completely having a fake memory and I never painted one of yours over, make sure to let me know. Oh God, that's kind of cool. All right, Mechanical Frog is ready to the next part. I haven't caught up on any of those. I'm behind. You do I like your at least the length. I that kind of content I can consume at that length. Is it just me or is like everyone who is it a thing where you I thought when you got older you like your attention span would improve or something. I don't know like how come it seems like my attention span is shorter when I'm younger? Aren't you supposed to be like a spastic kid with a short attention span and then so it seems like I'm completely the opposite. Oh, yeah, the snipers. Okay, so I don't feel bad missing your few because I thought that was a great one. I love it in the promo reel. Let's watch the promo reel again. I gotta do another one of these. Oh, those snipers. I got to do rain. I got the rain in the shadows. I had the other video where at the end it's from Gladiator, and he's like, "Are you not entertained?" And I was like, "Oh, what?" I like put that on here, and then YouTube gives me some copyright strike or some stuff like that for like a 3 second clip of movie audio. Oh, okay. There's something here. smoke gets pushed out, so that'll be cool. I can give that some type of energy and motion. So you have kind of straight lines. It helps you have a little bit of curvature on the bottom part, right? So otherwise it's a lot blocky. And the Mechanicus itself even has a little bit of curvy lines. So I'm going to try to play some of that up. Yeah, it did echo. So like some of the things, what now I try to pull off some paint overs based on what effects I can do quick in the video, right? And that one I loved because there's a shadow branch effect I got in there, and then the rain got on there too. And then the way you had it painted, it was like, oh gosh, like to me, for just my taste personally, it all came together for like that. And I was like, okay, I love that little like paint over and video clip. So it's coming through some sort of smog. This is where your reference really pays off. And they even talked about it in that video I mentioned earlier, is like, now if I should be basically get some picture of some sort of sand blowing up. And my version would be I would take like a real picture of like some sand and then put it in there or whatever, and then kind of accentuate and mess with it. So you split that boundary. Like, I'm not trying to be photorealistic in the movies, but I'm trying to exaggerate it a bit more, but I still want some of that realism in. Yo, Scott Frazier, thanks for making it. Oh yeah, Scott Frazier submitted something really cool. Oh, my bit rate's a little slow, but yeah, what did you submit that I was sticking in my head? For some reason, you just stuck in my mind with whatever you submitted this week was really cool, and I was bummed wasn't gonna be able to do it. Maybe some sort of cave entrance or glowy Necrani one he is bravely, foolishly exploring. Yeah. And I still don't even know if I'm sold on this whole orange sky, so this is another one where I might change it. But I'll do see because yeah, it doesn't. If I turn this picture black and white, let me try something. So here's another trick. I don't know if it's a trick. It's just uh, wait. How can I do this? Hmm. Give me a second. This may be. I'm putting all these layers into a group. I'm going to duplicate the group. I'm going to flatten this whole one. So I basically have the whole image on one layer. And then hue, brightness, saturation, drop the saturation. And then when you see the black and white, it should be able to hold on its own. And this one doesn't even come close. So my background is the same. It's not any darker or really any lighter in the background. Maybe a hair lighter, but it doesn't matter. So I'm totally botching that because that's why the vehicle is getting no separation from the background because it's the same tone. And then the sky, the top part is kind of okay, but it's still just too much like a strip of light across the top. I would have to make it more interesting. And I think what I have to do is I have to do it almost like that other one and make it more of an angle. I should probably, like, I should be reinforcing like this shape. I should be pushing this so it looks like it's coming. Actually, I should be pushing it. This kind of should be the point, and everything should be kind of radiating maybe from that. That's probably more what I want. See, so that already helped. If I should have a bright spot right here. Uh, doesn't much matter. I should do it right here. So that helped, see? If you just do the right thing from the start. The shortcuts always do. It's always the fundamentals of art. It's like you got it. It's always the basics. Like, is your basics down? And how was that? There, let me see this. Man, there's some cool cult ones. Oh, yeah, that was yours, that Gene Stealer. See, that would have been a great one too because he's got the cool lighting and it was just a nothing even crazy. He's kind of like standing there doing his thing. And but the lighting on it, oh, see, this is already better. When I talked through you, when I talk with you guys, when you don't talk to me, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but that's sort of what I got figured out. That'll work. This looks bad right now, but that's what I want. So I want that strip of light across the middle, and then I have to do the sky with depth, and then the light coming from underneath. So this is a lot of light play that we'll see if I can pull off, but theoretically, it could be cool. I was reading, I made scrolled back, and I even saw Scott Fraser's name, but my name is Scott. So then Blood Medusa was like, "Hey, Scott." I'm like, "Wait, we've been talking for like a half hour." I was like, "Did you leave and then come back, or was I left and come back?" I was like, "No, it's the person right above him whose name's Scott that she said hello to." Let's go look at the dragon. I'll do something cool with this one. I gotta do it justice. It's a strong pose. It's got, see, this one's the same thing because it's got the great this. You got this nice shape right here. Forge of Mars. Welcome back. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? This one doesn't need light in the background because it's light. It needs darkness. Darkness. Oh, Forge of Mars. I got to episode 4 on Wheel of Time. It's growing on me, actually. I don't even know if I should, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to, I don't know what the look is of that show. It's growing on me. There was a couple scenes that I remember, like, kind of right from the book that I thought were cool, and I'm like, okay. So I'm getting over some of my phobia to just relax a bit, enjoy it. Oh, and they had the Tinkerers or whatever, and I was like, oh gosh, that's right. I forgot. I was like, yeah, I watched the Wheel of Time, and I started the book a long time ago or whatever. Never finished. I probably got like 4 or 5 books left, but I was worried when I saw some of the costume stuff like in show, and I saw someone's tweet. They were like, "It looks like they went shopping in HM like outdoor or something," and I was like, "Yeah, that was the thing that got me." But then it it was yeah something about it. I don't even know why. I started just kind of getting sucked in a little bit, and I think Matt's character was liking, and it there was a couple scenes I like, just they were good from the book, and so I just remember that, and I think that might be pulling me into it. And what's funny is Forge Mars, we have to talk later about the changes because there's probably some things that were changed that I wouldn't remember. How am I going to do this? It has to have energy. And see, I can blur some of the, like, I will blur some of that under the wing and stuff to give it that little bit of motion, but I'm not quite there yet. This, I'm still trying to just figure out how I want to accomplish what I'm trying to. What is it like? What is it? Your reach exceeds your grasp, or your reach exceeds your grasp, or your grasp exceeds your reach, or something. Yeah. All right, we're gonna do it this way. Oh, 7 to 10 minutes? Sure, dude. If you want to come on, you can stop. I mean, you don't have to, but I'll draw for a little while longer if you feel like it. I say, come on down. You're the next contestant on. I don't know what. Stop me from babbling. And then I do these streams, right? And then like, okay, well, I don't know what happens if I don't know, I ever want to get employed or something. Be like, well, you like tune in, be like, dude, this guy does not shut up. Don't hire that dude. You don't want him in the office. Oh, that's kind of cool. Something about it. They'll give it just a wee bit. Babble tech. That's what we used to do, like Babylon 5. I'd be like, with our friends, we'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Babble. Everyone would be like, yeah, we were bad. Because you'd sit there and draw long enough, you'd kind of just go a little bit crazy. It's like like you'd be sitting alone for days on end drawing, and all you're doing is like you're drawing on top of it, like you'd be drawing imaginary stuff. So then you're drawing like imaginary stuff, thinking about imaginary things, and it's like you're not even based in reality anymore. Oh yeah, so I'll be able to do this one. It's starting to come together. I'll get some light, I'll get some dust, I'll get the leaves blowing, I'll get a little bit of indication of some type of plants and scale, and I'll break it up. I always have a certain amount of panic phase in all these. I used to panic way more, so I will give myself that. I never yeah, so I never did Babylon 5. And I know quite a few people who really liked it, and I know they're working on a reboot or whatever, continuation or however you want to word it, and I definitely know I'll check that out. which is odd for me because I've seen, like quote unquote, all those shows. I was watching all that stuff, but there's a couple. Babylon 5 never made it on my list, which is odd considering, but it's like so far gone now. I'm like, oh, I probably wouldn't even want to watch the old one. And there was one other one kind of from that era that I have skipped. Oh, see, it was your favorite. See, there's quite, and that kind of little disappoints me a little bit that I wasn't, because I remember it back in the day and everything. What was we always we would recount our like greatest gaming failures, and one of the greatest gaming failures we always said like that we have as a friend, we used to play. It was Rogue Squadron, and you could. It was either unlock. I don't think it was a TIE fighter. I think it was the Millennium Falcon. And there was something about you could see it in the background in like you went to a hangar every time, right? And if you looked underneath, usually it was your X-wing would be right there, and if you looked like right behind the X-wing underneath it, you could see the landing gear of kind of like the Millennium Falcon, and we were like, we didn't think it was going to be in the game. We were all bummed out. I was like, oh gosh, we never noticed it was right there. Space above and beyond, says the Forge of Mars. It's on HBO Max. It is on HBO Max. I got HBO Max for a little bit because I wanted to. I still have it, so I should watch it before I get rid of. I have a bunch of them, but that stuff's expensive. Start rattling off all those platforms and it sucks too because like a lot of it, it's like I want two shows on each of the little services usually, because I'm not that big of a watcher, but a lot of times, I pop something on at night, when I'm drawing or whatever. Oh gosh, this is gonna be cool if I can do this right. I should do the same thing. I should see where it needs some bright. I don't know if it should be that dark underneath the dark part of his wing or a little brighter. Decisions, decisions. It's got a little bit of depth in there. Okay, good. Why does my monitor keep flicking off? There we go. Space above and beyond. Yeah, and then this one, I can tell it was the right thing, even though I didn't know it at the time now. So, and compositionally, we have this shape, and what I'm trying to do is do some of this. I want that. And I don't even know if that makes sense, but like it's kind of how you break down. It's like I guess you would say like indicated shape, or there's probably some art term for it, but it's like, your where your lines would be even though there's no lines there. You're like the wings still kind of cast a shape where there is no shape. I'm getting a whole bunch of messages. Someone's trying to get a hold of me a bunch. Busy times. Ivan, NO, dude, get out of here. Get out of here. You had everything and now it's just abuse. No, you're fed. You're good. And every time I take the dog for a walk, we'll go to this park, and you know how they are smelling after other dogs, but like every time he gets it, and so whatever, he's like 14-year-old dog, and it always just half cracks me up because like, smell it, smell it. He's got the wind, got the smell. He's coming up, he comes up to it, and then there's a big old dog deuce right there, and he takes one whiff, and it's like, oh, like he jerks his head away, and then like, oh, walks away disgusted. I'm like, what did you think you were smelling for that whole time? And then why, when you find it, do you act like, oh, I found shit. I don't like this. It's like, dude, that's what you were smelling the whole time. And then every time, as soon as he like finds it, it's just like, oh God, that's disgusting. I'm out of here. Like, I don't get it. like like what like and then I started thinking about like, okay, what are you like, the smell where they peed. I'm like, what are you like, literally? I could see if they're trying to get like, they'd find out if like a female's in heat or whatever like that. But they gotta be, they're really smelling. I'm like, they could probably tell if something is like healthy, be like, okay, you're not drinking enough water. Oh, you've been drinking out of that pond again, or who knows what. Ivan, dude, no. No, no, no. Now you're mad, you're crabby because I'm talking to someone who's not you. Deal with it. Don't be jealous. Jealousy is not a good look on you, dog. Gareth, thanks for making it. Gareth, why do I know Gareth? Gareth, we've interacted on Twitter. I don't know your last name, but I remember Gareth, and I'll assume you're that Gareth. Now, a little more funky light. Oh, that does matter there. Interesting. Oh, yeah. How could I not know Garfy? Garfy, thanks for making it. I know you're always busy. I won't like, I'll be like, ask what you're working on, but it's probably a whole big list of stuff. What are you working on, by the way? Yeah, Garfy's brilliant. Go check out Garfy Grips. It's not, no, it's on Etsy. Garfy's Grips on Etsy. Oh, wait, I should plug this too. After I did Garfy's Grips, I should say, I gotta plug them. I believe the sale is over, but so I gotta put the Patreon code up, and there may be one even for people who watch to kind of enter and get a little discount. So Elric's Hobbies, they do a lot of bases, they do some terrain, stuff like that. And actually, the bases to me are super cheap. I love gears. I don't even know why gears. I want to buy a bunch of gears. I heard you. I heard you come in. So check that out. You can go to elricshobbies.com. And then Lee just joined us. Let's pull in Lee. Here, one, two. Bam! We are live. Save me, Lee. I'm going to go take the dog out. He probably has to go pee again. And then I will be right back. So use that wisdom and entertainment skills and your knowledge of lore. Like, I have 11 viewers now. By
I'll
the
just
time
go.
I'm back,
Fine.
yeah, get me like 30 or 40 more viewers in the next 3 minutes, dude. Good luck.
No pressure on
make
me
me
then.
make me popular, dude. Make me popular. That's all I'm saying. Like,
I
make it
don't have
look
to do
like,
anything for that. You're already popular. We got some
make me
lovely people.
popular.
You're so lucky you're looking after us and watching and
Yeah, I appreciate everyone stopping by. So Lee's gonna keep you occupied. What are you? He's having the bud. He's having the bud. I'll be right back.
so hello everybody. I've been rushing back to get here to join in with the live stream. I completely forgot. It was my daughter's birthday. I knew my daughter's birthday was coming up. I forgot that we was going out to take her out to was basically just like a desserts restaurant. So she had a lovely time. Everyone had a lovely time. I had food, and so everything was groovy. How is everybody anyway? I know I was chatting sporadically throughout the live stream when I had the opportunity. What's going on? What's going on? Yes, Echo. Hello, Scott. Hello, Scott. Welcome, and hello, Blood Producer. Hello, everybody. Is that a baby Godzilla? It's just seeing that. It's just like, oh, I love Godzilla. I'm not as big of a Godzilla fan as some people I've met on Twitter and stuff. Oh, cheers, Gareth. Yeah, she was. Well, she got presents, she got cake, and so yeah, so she's always happy with that. Uh, yes, I'm fine. Thank you very much, Echo. As I said, it's unusual because I was off today because of the birthday thing. Obviously, I always take birthdays off. No matter what, the first holidays I book in are my birthday and my kids' birthdays and significant others' birthdays, and it's what you do, because then you have a much more peaceful time with things. Because I don't like working on my birthday. I've had to do it twice, and that was purely because my boss is a West Ham United supporter, and both times West Ham got to some cup final or something. So I couldn't, really say no. I could, but I would have felt bad. Hey Jay, fellow Ignitum Princeps. Ignitum, the way forward, the first, the best. Yeah, this is. I've been honestly. Normally, I'd be on my third or fourth on this time of the stream. So this is my first of the day. So let it cold straight out of the fridge. Although I did leave them outside the house, the last couple of days because it was freezing outside, so it was just as good. But yes, the tarantulas are a lovely blood Medusa. So much texture and a real contrast friendly. And who doesn't love exactly cake or death, as Eddie would have said. But yeah, it's at the moment. What's going on here? Oh right, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at myself in the past because I've got you guys the chat on my phone, and my phone was behind on the video, so I was looking at myself going, wait a second, I don't remember that happening. It's not happening there. Technology, eh? So yes, say the stuff that Scott has been doing today on the Paintover. When I saw your submission, Alison, I thought, oh, that would be awesome. He's got to do that because I have no leeway. Literally, I have no leeway on what Scott does. He sees something that makes him go, ooh, and then he'll grab it. So I thought your one was the dragon was definitely, and that's basically
Yeah, yeah, that'll be some. These will come out good. It's I gotta put some time into solving a few things, but I got most of them. Like, I have the dragon mostly solved. This one I'll have mostly solved. I might put like some blue light kind of light behind his legs there. I try to learn stuff. I don't know. I try to just keep pushing it. And this one's gonna chew up some time because I want to get the scale in there and do a few things. I want the dust coming up, and I
at
want
the
that. What was that?
end of his tail, down to right there. Is
See,
that so?
it's like a tree.
I thought he had something tied around it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it does look like that right there. See, and then I'm like, okay, do I leave? Do I put more of that in? I could put a little more, but then it makes his scale smaller.
Mm,
I'm debating.
mm. He is sort of very reminiscent of Godzilla.
Yeah.
I automatically love it.
I know, and I never did like the gutters. I'm like, okay, I gotta do the. I want the, those glowing back scales or whatever,
So, porch beers are the best. In Callow to Gavin Cliff, a wild gaff has appeared apparently.
Gavin Cliff, thank you for making it.
So yeah, so
Oh,
some of the points you were saying whilst I was in transit, heading back to the office, about the Wheel of Time and about the cloves.
yeah.
Right now, the way I see it is because in the books they always said about good stout woolens.
Yeah, they did. He must have wrote that 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly. And Nynaeve was always on about the good stout woolens.
Oh,
Oh, I can't wear silk. Silk is gorgeous and
yeah,
lovely.
yeah, you're right. That was Nynaeve. Okay, this is gonna sound so stupid. Nynaeve is the wisdom one, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
right. Wait, what was the? Did they kill the one I always liked? It was Perrin's woman who was like, and it would had they
Oh,
always
yeah,
gave me like a. Okay, because I always loved that character because I don't know why. I know like the way they described her, like the wasn't like her nose was something like not beaked or like a
yeah.
falcon. It was kind of like a falcon, and I was like, oh gosh, I hope her character was so cool. I was like, oh no, but like hopefully they bring her in because she was one of my favorites.
She doesn't appear for a couple of books.
Okay.
Um,
Oh yeah,
it's
that's right.
it's because obviously I think it was about it was either the second or the third book. She turns up.
Yeah.
It's where they separate. I think it could be the Dragon Reborn because I know that one was where it might be the second one because there was Perrin was separated and he was with um, Moraine and Lan. Then what's his face? Rand was off on his own with Matt, I believe.
Yeah.
Their whole thing from the Borderlands coming down, and that's when we in the Dragon Reborn. That's when like the Aiel start to
Oh yeah, I
pop.
like the Aiel. I like those first books, and like one of my favorites is still when Rand gets out of the box.
Mm,
Like it does feel like desperation. I was reading it, I'm like, dude,
the
I'm like,
Mice
dude,
Wells.
I got so crabby at those people. I was like, dude, you like you're gonna get it, man. I'm like, I got pissed. Like I don't even get emotional about anything. But like for that book, I was like getting pissed. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you better snap and kill everybody.
Yeah, no, as I say, like you got that to look forward to. Um, but as I say, like with what's happening in the TV series, and again, going on about the clothes. Oh, they should be like grimier, dirtier. You think why? Emmons Field and the
Well,
two
yeah,
women,
no, it wasn't. Yeah, I hear you.
they're
I
on a good sort of level. They can make
hmm
lots of things, and they had all the weavers and all that sort of stuff. So they had a good supply of wool, and two rivers tobacco, um,
Yeah,
and
because it
all that.
wasn't like it wasn't like it was some backwards town. You know what I mean? It was outskirt, but it wasn't like it was run. And they always said the old blood runs deep, so you would
Yeah,
figure, you know what I mean, all that stuff too.
because Robert Jordan took a lot of influence from Frank Herbert and June and Tolkien. Basically, like Emmons Field and the Two Rivers is basically like
Yeah.
Shire.
Yep.
That's their normal height. uh, but so they've got a good society there. There is connections between other towns as well, and because they've been like left to their own devices as part of the realm of Andor, because they said
Yeah.
they can't remember the last time. I don't think there's anyone alive when a tax collector came from Andor, so that's why they
Oh yeah.
is independence. But they've got, as I say, well-made sort of. They got a good
I
style of living and well-made clothes.
so
Um,
I liked the white cloaks seem appropriately like ugh, like I just like they seem like they do in the book. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that was a good. I'm like, they just got that creepy vibe and that like, I'm like, okay, you did that great. Like, so I dug that. And Matt, I think Matt was kind of my favorite. I was surprised. I was like, okay, dude, I really did. I think Perrin might have been my favorite, and like for a while there, and then he got a little lost in the weeds, like when they, not lost in the weeds, but it was just like a long thing of like his whole deal with the wolf and in the Umbra or whatever. But Matt in this like grew on me again. I dug his character. I'm like, okay, I just like that actor. I think pulls it off
Right.
good.
Sorry to disappoint you though.
Yeah,
He's not going to be in the second season.
he's not in the second season.
No, he's
Oh.
been replaced. I
Oh,
read this the other day. I was Crystal McDowell. I was
yeah.
she's a big Wheel of Time fan as well. Whenever I go onto her Twitch stream,
Oh, yeah, I've been on her Twitch streams. I didn't know that about her. I should, yeah, that'll be a good something to talk
it was
about. Keep
asking
going.
me, and I literally just read a news thing, like Screen Rant or whatever, saying that um, uh, whatever his name is, Harris, isn't returning, and they've already got somebody to replace him, and like the producers saying, "Oh yeah, you won't really notice the transition." So it's like,
Oh,
you know,
that's weird.
mm,
Huh.
yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. Whether or not he's just basically like he's got other projects, if he's can't
Yeah. He's like,
do it or
forget
something.
this.
Yeah,
One
but
thing.
he definitely has, like in the books. You start off not liking him,
Yeah, yeah.
then you start to like him, and then you start to love him
Yeah.
as you go on, sort of thing. Rand is just Rand all throughout, and I
Yeah.
saw somebody moaning about, oh, he's such a miserable little, you know, pretentious shit, sort of moody shitbag. And the thing is, Rand is in the book, he is quite a moody, sort of like
Yeah.
angry
I
at
think
times.
yes. I was very neutral towards his character. I liked him. I like I was kind of like, okay, he was very, I don't know if vanilla is the term, but like
Mm,
he would be like had that kind of, it was just like almost evil out personality. And then I really dug him when he was escaping the box, because I was like, okay, he's still trying to be good, he's battling all this stuff, and then he's starting to take charge and like kind of be in command a little bit, and yet he wasn't like in full like conniving mode yet or whatever. So that was probably my favorite point in his character with that, and that's probably why, because like he grew on me at that point. Because Rand, I was like, okay, I didn't dislike him, I was like, oh, he's cool, it was like this. I was drawn more towards Matt and probably even Perrin, and then that spot is where I was like really digging Rand.
yeah, no, you say Demise Wells, which is in the books, and it's a big part. So we won't go into what it is. So don't Google it, people. If
I
you haven't
will
even,
spoil everything. I don't know. Yeah, so people tune in, whatever. I don't give spoiler warnings. I will talk about everything. That's your
oh,
warning.
it, it's a big part because it's a big scene. It's not something that is, well, it is part of the story, but it does have certain consequences later on, sort of thing. But they're not. It wouldn't spoil your viewing or reading about it, about knowing about it, sort of thing. But um, yeah, there's lots of things really, and we haven't even started getting into the Aes Sedai. I know we've seen like uh, Leandrin now in the series, and
Oh, wait, they don't have that right now. I'm popping up the wrong one. I'm popping up a sale that was last week.
so
But
White
maybe
Dwarf Force
maybe it's still up. We'll do it just in case the code's up. See if they still left the code up and go there and buy something and under code black 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 and sell it miniatures for 20% off.
there was
See if the code.
Blood producer saying about how she loves how diverse the cast is, and the thing is, in because when I was listening to Wheel of Time, I only discovered it about 4 or 5 years ago, and the books are big, like on audio books, which I really loved because you is when you're on Audible and
Yeah.
you get a lot of hours out of one credit because like most of them are sort of like maybe between 25 to 40 hours long.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to them, and there's lots of characters. I think it has about 4,200 characters in the whole
Yeah,
series.
I mean, they have a full society. Like he literally goes through like every, you know what I mean? It is like you're traveling in the world with that place. I liked it. Oh, what before I let him speak, before I while I'm interrupting him, if someone has an Audible, I have some Audible credits. So if you would like an Audible book, I would need your email. I'll give like one away. I don't know how I would do it, whatever. If someone replies, if you don't have a bunch of books already and you would like one, I'll give one away to somebody who is listening. So just like reply in the chat if you want one, and probably first this person will get it or whatever. And so if you want a book, just say you want one. I will get you one out. I use the Audible credit, so I think most books are available in that. And then you can DM me on Twitter or something. The only thing I would need is like your email, and then I can send you a book out. I gotta get one out to Sashimi because I gave away two last week, but I only literally gave out the book, one of the books. So I gotta do his, and then if someone else interested, just let me know. Frog lives on Audible. And now I hope Lee remembers where he was. If it was me, I would have no idea, but back to
Yeah,
Lee.
it was the how diverse the cast is, and basically, when I started listening to it, and you get you fall into the universe of the
Hmm.
whole sort of Wheel of Time and everything, and I sort of googled up the characters, and there'd been fan art, obviously, that people have done, and there's some really great characters. Like somebody done like they're almost like playing card type things where they have the characters on there, and so you're looking at them, and you go, "Oh, yeah, that's sort of how I sort of imagined and all that." But it's quite funny because like Nynaeve and Egwene, um, I think he's actually mentioned in there that they do have sort of dark skin, because Rand is meant to stand out more because of his red hair and
Yeah,
height,
yeah.
and so there's a real a multicultural pot in the Two Rivers, but it's said quite a lot with some of the other country domains within the lands of the Wheel of Time. So like Andor, like you've got different cultures as well, which because you travel all around this world, the borderlands, which are several like city states that are protecting the rest of the world from the evil, the blight. So it's like the lands right in the north where it's desolated, and is where
Oh yeah,
the
how did I even forget the blight? Because that's by the AEL. Okay, keep going.
mm. So you got that. You got the where the Aiel live. They're in like this sort of wasteland out to the west, over these mountain passes, and they are like the Fremen from Dune, um, and they live out there in tribes, and um,
They're my favorites. They were my
the
favorites in
Aiel
the book.
are pretty awesome.
I love the character. Like they were my favorite group out of like everything in there. I was like, okay, they were cool to me.
And there was to give a little bit of backstory to what we're seeing, where 20 years prior to the start of the Wheel of Time was the end of the Aiel War. And basically, there was a king who had, a few hundred years prior, that Aiel had gifted him with a sapling of this tree, which is like a very sacred object for
Oh
uh,
yeah.
the Aiel, because where they live, there's not a lot of water, and like trees, and this is like the world tree type thing. And they gave this tree in a mark of friendship, and allowed that his people to sort of go across the shortcuts through their lands to get to the borderlands and stuff like that. But move on a couple of hundred years, this king, um, basically decides to cut this tree down and make a nice throne out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And upon hearing that, a couple of tribes within the Aiel, because the Aiel are made up of about 12 or 13 tribes, and they're always like fighting each other and all that sort of stuff. But basically, 3 tribes took this insult and came over the Dragon Wall, which is a ridge of mountains. And these 3 tribes absolutely decimated because they're formidable warriors.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, for real.
they
You
they
don't want to
they
pick
drove
them
all
as
the
the
way up to
enemy.
the White
That's what.
Tower where
Yeah.
all the Aes Sedai live, and then they went home. And like
Yeah.
all the people that live in the world, oh yeah, we defeated the Aiel, and like the Aiel, no, we got somewhere and then we just left. We left them
Yeah.
alone, and there was only 3 tribes that did that. So you can imagine if somebody peed them off enough that all 12 or 13 tribes come across, because the 3 tribes just absolutely pummeled the crap out of everybody.
Yeah.
But not in a Mary Sue way. They're just cool because they
No,
are
no, they were
like
just cool.
hardship and struggle and fighting and stuff.
Yeah. No, he did good on all those. At least the characters to me always had some good like something about them. Like they felt believable-ish. You know what I mean? The characters in his books, they didn't feel like one-dimensional really.
He had so much going on for him. It's like I said, and I said there's a lot of characters, and you get your favourites and stuff. I say like one of my favourite characters is actually Veren, who is a brown sister of the Aes Sedai. Who is
Oh
this?
yeah.
She's a like a bit of a bookworm. You're not quite sure about her and all that sort of stuff, but she's she gives that sort of like Miriam Margolyes. Some of the like British people might know of Miriam Margolyes, who's this actress, and that's how I always envisioned
Yeah.
her character. And, she was pretty cool, and I really liked her and her art
Ooh.
and stuff. But it's a,
Whatever. I have a hard time. Like after that whole box set, I'll be like, dude, I'd be like, oh man, I might go full psycho and kill everybody. 'Cause I was like, you all deserve it, dude.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like with the males, male Aes Sedai. So in the Wheel of Time, um, you've got the one power which the Aes Sedai use, and at the end of the last war against the Dark One, who's like this super being sort of thing, and he got imprisoned by an Aes Sedai. Oh my god, I've forgotten his name. Who he's got a name, but he was known after this war as the Dragon.
Logan, right?
No,
Logan?
not Legain's this time. Louis Theron. Louis Theron
Oh
Telemon.
yeah, gosh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he was like he brought his companions all together who were Aes Sedai, and they defeated the Dark One. But the Dark One, before he was imprisoned, tainted the male half of the One Power. So from then on, any male Aes Sedai who could or anyone who could channel the One Power, who was the male, would get tainted and be slowly driven mad by it. And it was Louis Telemon,
Yeah,
Drag
Thieleman? I don't even know.
Louis Theon Telemon. So yeah, he went mad. There was a little bit of manipulation going on, but he did go mad. He killed, and as I say, this is not spoilers. This is history of the thing. He killed his entire sort of like family and everything, and then when he realised what he'd done, he just went batshit crazy even more, and then basically all split the world, creating massive earthquakes, and the world was torn asunder, and it took a while for things to sort of come back to normal. And in the 3,000 years since then, the female Aes Sedai have basically gone around hunting male Aes Sedai, or any male channelers, so they don't blow up the world even more. And that's where we find ourselves now. So 20 years after the Aiel War, and this supposed dragon has been reborn within the body of, in the TV series, a male or a female. So, which is, I think they're doing to add a little bit more, because there's like the five.
I didn't know it was tied. Yeah, I guess I never thought about it. If it was, it could have been male or female in the books. Even I don't even know if I followed it enough to know
Well, they were
that.
pretty definite. They were pretty sure in the books it was a male.
Did they think? Yeah, I
Because
didn't
it's
know what
all
the.
because of the tainted side of things. Like, the women are
Yeah,
fine. they,
yeah,
they can
makes
choose
sense
as much as
because
they
you're
like.
not gonna. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why. So
So that
okay,
was the
yeah,
whole thing about trying to
yeah.
find the
That's why I
dragon.
guess I didn't think about it because I was like, yeah, you're coming from the male side, so it would be. That's kind of why I was like, yeah, I didn't think
Uh,
about that. I was like, yeah, it's the dragon, and he was the one who had the male side and like freaked out, so it's kind of like part of the course.
yeah, but obviously, I think obviously they're just trying to twist things and change things. If they do go with a female dragon, that'll be interesting to see what they go with further down the line. But
I know. I was
uh,
just wondering. I'm like, are they gonna totally switch it and whatever? See, sometimes I hate that. Like, the only reason I hate that is like I'll take it to like comic movies or anything. Like if it was something I liked 30 years ago and I've been a fan of that character for 30 years, let me see that character first and then do whatever you want. You know what I mean? That's just my general stance. Like, dude, if you followed it for that long and I'm like, okay, I want to see Rand do the thing when he gets out of the box, and then it's like Nynaeve or whoever who I like just as much as a character, I would
like
still be
Neve is just
pissed. Like, yeah,
fantastic. Like
yeah,
Neve
like
is
I liked a lot of the other
the best
characters more than
characters in the
Rand,
entire series.
so
Um,
that's my only problem with some of that.
yeah, no, I say, like, the whole thing that was in the thing where Nynaeve, um, is powerful.
Yeah, she came in clutch in
Egwene,
some stuff for sure,
yeah,
dude.
Egwene is powerful. We haven't met her yet, but obviously the Armelin seat is powerful. So there's lots of women that have got um, epic sort of story arc in the books. I'm talking about. They've got some epic story arcs in there. They've got some
And that
awesome
was
backgrounds, and they
that
just
was the other thing is that with those book series, even reading them back in the day, it was cool to me because it wasn't necessarily, oh, here's Rand who is the hero and is going to do everything right. And it's like, it's just him. And so you saw how all these characters played huge parts in getting something done and what their key. It's like, dude, Rand couldn't have done this if this person doesn't do this. And then they have. So it felt truly epic in that, yeah, this dude's being the quote unquote dragon reborn, but there's like a freaking thousand people who all have to do shit to help facilitate that because it's not like a one man operation.
no,
And I love that about a book just because it was that depth to it.
yeah, he wasn't just him. So that's what makes it
Yeah,
different.
yeah, it was a
It's sort
lot
of
more
like,
than
hero tropes sort of thing.
yeah.
But like, I think there's one or two books where he's hardly in it. Like,
Yeah.
he'll pop
Oh yeah, yeah,
up
yeah.
again. But for the majority, like 85% of the book is around other characters and what they're doing, because at the end of the day, they need to find the dragon reborn and then help him to fulfill the prophecies, of the prophecies of the dragon. And there's all the other little bits and pieces and all these different groups and all that have their own prophecies tied to the prophecies of the dragon. Um, so sorry,
Yeah, there's like a million things.
yeah. There's so much. There is a lot of bits and pieces going on, and you say you've got backstabbing, you've got secret societies, dark friends, white
I
cloaks.
the Reds were in the book. I loved. I gotta give them credit because the Reds were hardcore. Like, and the one I even thought the actress who did that Red in this one was good. I'm like, okay, yeah, you read as a Red to me or whatever. So I was like, I thought that actress or whatever just fit her role.
Mm. Yeah, that's the thing. You've got the Reds are obviously generally the ones that hunt down um, male channelers. Um, and when you've got like the Greens, who are the battle archer, so they are the ones that fight on the front lines if there's any sort of wars involving like dark ones and fell beasts and stuff like that. Blue are sort of like this. I wouldn't say the CIA, but they work behind.
Yeah, yeah, they all, yeah, in the ways they almost are, you know.
The whites, which are the sort of negotiators. Greys, I'm not too sure about actually. I can't remember.
You know what? Yeah, I can't remember the Grays either. And
Yellows
Echo,
are the
thanks for making it.
yellow are healers. And if you're new to the Wheel of Time, basically those sisters of the Aes Sedai, depending on what faction they're part of, they'll always wear their colours. So that's why you see Moraine wearing blue because she's blue Arja. Sandy, the Armelin seat, which is all Arjas, although she hails from one Arja, but she becomes the representative of all, sort of thing. But yeah, it's such a fascinating, rich background, and you know, there's sort of even like within their worlds, there's fantasy bits within within their backgrounds as well.
Yeah, I know. They would get so like I don't know what that dude was doing because he just like went for it. Like I'm like how you like, yeah, I'm gonna tell like 40,000 characters in my story. Like I'm like I just want to tell one with one, maybe two that are decent. He's like, we're going for 40,000.
No, it was only 4,000,
No, I know, but still, I'm just like
4,380. But that's still
4,000 might as well be 40,000.
in 15 books. That's a lot of named
That's what I'm
characters.
saying. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it's not just like, oh, James over there. You know, they have something like they'll have
Yeah. And they would
or
have
something.
ones where I'm like, oh, is this going to be a bigger character? And I'm like, nope. You know, it's like, and then that was my one problem though. Like you'd read those books, 1,000 characters. I have hard enough time remembering one character. So like that was my thing. I was like, man, you better do something important for me to remember you, buddy, in this book series, because I'll see your name. It's like if I see your name like 20 times, you don't have a shot at me remembering you. I need to get it drilled in my mind like a couple hundred times.
I just noticed that Felix has turned up with his dun dun da. But yeah, it's as I said, it is a really good. In the years that I've since I discovered it, I've re-listened to its entirety 3 times. So that's over maybe 4 or 5
Yeah.
years, and because it does, because I
Wow, that
listen.
is crazy, Lee. Yeah.
It is such a great sort of story. Admittedly, I after on the third time round, there were certain
Skip
bits I
parts, but yeah.
because it's just like, yeah, I know what goes on there, sort of thing. So I
Hmm.
just, uh, but yeah, all the characters really do go through such a great journey and learning process in the book.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It is, to me, it was like, this is all the stuff it takes to have a quote unquote hero's journey. Like for all, you know what I mean? That's what I got. I was like, dude, you go through the whole rigmarole. You go through the whole rigmarole with all your people involved in it. All these people have to grow to pull this off. And I think that was probably like like the big draw about that. I was like, dude, it really is like all the details to get. It wasn't like usually they just make a montage and you're like, dude, you work out, you do a montage, and then you're ready. Like, but not there was no montages in this story.
Uh, and say there's so many different levels of stuff. Like I was actually watching the last episode in particular, like the Tinkers.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think they've done them pretty well actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've sort of addressed them, and how they are and their sort of their beliefs and stuff, because the way of the leaf is actually quite, um, and what it's in it is their life to thinkers anyway.
What? Why would? Okay, Ryan says, why do people not like the Aes Sedai? I think, in my okay, so in my mind, you gotta remember. So Leo probably know a lot more of the lore. From my take, from reading it for the first time, it's almost like because they're like half like crafty and conniving. You don't fully know what they do, but they're powerful and can like kind of control stuff. So you almost have that like resentment where they're like it's like a ruling class, kind of can't trust it. But I think some do totally too. But I think it's that mix where I think some feel like they're under the thumb of them and they don't, and they kind of are. So like I think to me that was the point of it. But Lee, what's your thought?
With the Aes Sedai, they're bound by three oaths. So when they ascend to becoming a full sister, after many years of study and work at the White Tower, they have to swear these three oaths on this artifact. It's like
Oh
a
yeah, that's right.
and by doing that, they don't show. They don't. Well, in the books, they don't show aging. They don't. They have this like ageless quality about them.
Yeah.
So they're quite, after a while, they're quite easily recognisable as Aes Sedai. But I don't think they're going with that in the show. But with the three oaths, they're not allowed to um, make weapons. They're only allowed to fight in self-defense, and against dark ones. They're not allowed to use their powers willy-nilly,
Yeah.
um, and they're not allowed to lie. So they've perfected how to not say what they mean.
Like
Or
when I said a hundred
infer.
percent of the people interviewed for AE said what they the 100% of the people interviewed by Artist Empire said they what they wanted most for the holiday season was a paint over. And I only interviewed me.
Yeah.
So complete 100% of the people interviewed, that's what they wanted. They said, I want a paint over for Christmas. I was like, dude, you sure don't want a car? They're like, nope, I want a paint over.
So
100%.
people are a little bit sort of wary of them, because there's normally something attached. Of the, they say, "Oh, you want this? Blah blah blah. We can help you do this, but then you'll owe us a favor." So it's that sort of wariness. A lot of the times they are respectful to Aes Sedai. They may not like them being there, but there's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing as well about dark friends. So they haven't really played much on this at all. So
Yeah,
you've seen
yeah.
bits, but basically, you got the dark friends are like people that are allied to the dark powers. So they basically fall in through the cracks, and maybe they said like, okay, you want to be famous or whatever, we can make you famous, but you have to do some things for us, and you're never let out of their sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you're always working for the the dark one in some way or form, because not only do you have the dark one, but you have what normal people call the fallen, or who dark friends call the chosen, and it's again sort of 12 people that were high powered channelers from the last war, who are basically minions of the dark one, and they're very strong, powerful, um, and they have a tendency that if they were imprisoned with the Dark One, and once they get out, they start carving themselves little empires and stuff like that, because they can, because they have all this knowledge, powers, and stuff. Um, so that's, I said, that's something that's going to happen, because they are
Be
intrinsic
back in
to
like
the story. Yep. Um, so yeah, so with the dark friends, they are lurking in the background. So it's normally like, oh, we didn't get our delivery today, and it could have been saying that a dark friend has interrupted or interfered with the delivery process, or killed the milkman. We don't know, but there's reasons for it, because they say it's moving chess pieces basically, and that's what the dark friends are doing. They're working for the chosen or the fallen, whichever side of the coin you are, and they're needing to get things done and create their little realms and stuff. So it's quite interesting because, like, the Aes Sedai are actually a force for good, but because of you've got the White Cloaks, who basically are meant to be a force for good as well, but they're very puritanical in some nature. So, like the Inquisition, you know, they want to fight. They want to fight the Dark One and all his minions. They just don't like people that use powers to do it. So they are very martial, and very sort of will interrogate people and, if need be, burn them and stuff like that. So it is like they are the Inquisition in some respects. So yeah, they've got like the two forces of good are against each other in this iteration of the world, sort of thing. So yeah, it's not a great place in some respects. You've got obviously great areas, nice places, but you've got all these artifacts from the past, which is there. People find, and they have, some of them have like magical properties that can enhance channelers or protect them, or do all sorts of wonderful things, but they don't quite know what some of them do. But yeah, it is. I say I've been rambling on ever since I got in here about Wheel of Time. It is a really good series, and it is different to what we're used to reading or listening to, or now watching in the the whole media thing. Hopefully, they are going to get to do a lot more with it, because as I say, we're up to episode 4 now. I think somebody mentioned there's only like 8 episodes in the series. So they are sort of chunking through, because there was like 14 books, I think, and a prequel book, which obviously you can't do the prequel because we've already started. So 14 books to get through. So if they're going to make like The Expanse, one season per book is a book, basically. So yeah, for where they are at the moment, because they've added scenes in as well, which is they've added stuff in and took stuff out, and changed bits and pieces. So yeah, I suppose they could finish up where the Eye of the World, which is the first book, ends. So that would be interesting for sure. But yeah, so Ryan, if you're up to date, there's the bard character Tom in the books. He's quite a major character in there. So I suppose in some respects he's sort of like he does become like a father figure towards sort of Matt and Rand in them, because he's so worldly. He's been around a bit, but he's got an awesome backstory, which when you find out, you go, "Wow, that's something." But yeah, they've covered a little bit of part of his pain, which was in the last episode, which he talks about. See, that's the thing, Ryan. With Game of Thrones, it's an unfinished project, and actually, like Robert Jordan, actually was friends with George R. R. Martin, and he actually sort of done some of the earlier sort of reading and editing type thing, or read throughs when George was writing, like the Game of Thrones, Dance of Ice and Fire. But when you read or listen to the books, right? because Robert Jordan started this series a good sort of 5 to 7 years before Game of Thrones. And there's things I was listening to, because I got deep into Game of Thrones like a lot of people, like not only watching but listening to the books as well, sort of thing. But there's so many things like the White Cloaks. You have White Cloaks in Game of Thrones, which are the royal guards of the king, but they're sort of not royal guards here. But other little bits and pieces as well. A big subplot within the Wheel of Time is the game of houses, where it's certain cities engage in Dice de Mar, I think it's called, which is translated as the game of houses, where they're very political machinations going on between the great houses and the lesser houses, and this, that, and the other. So that gets mentioned, and obviously when you realise that was mentioned before Game of Thrones came out, then it's like, because all writers do take ideas on things that has come before. So as I said, you'll see connections between like the Fremen from Dune, also other things from maybe Lord of the Rings as well. There's all these little bits and pieces that all authors will nick something from somewhere. I was actually today, before starting the final book of the Expanse series, I've been listening to Soul Hunter, from the first book of the Night Lords trilogy, which is really cool. It's a really good book, and it has sort of helped me understand a little bit more about Night Lords and what their whole thing is. Not just obviously the skinning and stuff. We all knew that, but there was a scene in there that Aaron has written, and I'm thinking that sounds like something that happened in Battlestar Galactica, because Aaron does this. He will basically use pop culture references every now and again, just slip them in there as a little sort of like Easter egg. So it's it is quite good. So yeah, but as I say, I'm now on to Leviathan Falls with J.A. S.A. coming up. Obviously, Ty Frank and Daniel Abraham, who are S.A. Corey. That's it, S.A. Corey, sorry. So the final book, and end of next week or start the week after, is the final season of The Expanse on Amazon.
Oh. Oh, that's right. When is that out?
It's next week or so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's.
did I lose my pen? Gosh darn it. I'm the worst.
You are the worst, honestly.
I'm missing. I have two pens. Oh, there it is. One has been missing now for 2 weeks, and the only place it can be is in two rooms. That's the only place that pen could be, and it's been missing for 2 weeks.
Yeah, S.A. Corey. But yeah, no, because the TV series finishes after book 6, because Leviathan Falls is book 9, which is actually a good juncture to finish the TV series, because after book 6 it jumps 30 years.
Oh,
So
does it? See, I never
yeah,
even knew it was a book when it first came out. Gosh, it came out. When did it come out? Like, when did Expanse start?
for about 10, 12 years ago.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I think it was over 10 because I remember it and it was like half obscure. I didn't know anything about it, but I really liked it. I really
Well,
liked it because I thought one of the characters was gonna be a main character, and like right in the beginning, they put that space bolt through him where he died in the escape pod or something.
so, as the thing is, like Ty Frank um, originally came up with an idea for a computer game, role play game, computer game, and tried to get this computer game made. The company that was dealing with it went bust, but he still retained the rights to it. So he
Yeah.
became a role play game, and basically the main characters in The Expanse were player characters from the role play game he was playing with friends. And he used to work with George R. Martin as one of his sort of assistant type people.
Yeah.
And through like this orphanage group or whatever, he met Daniel Abraham, and Abraham was a novelist, a writer.
Yeah.
That's why Ty Frank wasn't much of a writer. Like, it was more, he done other stuff, but I would say he created this role play game, and they thought, yeah, maybe this could be a a book, and it went from there. But
Huh.
they use real science behind a lot of the things in there. They also, because that's what I love about it, is like when I watch TV series, when you compare it to sort of Star Trek, Babylon 5, all those sort of shows,
Oh,
like
much more grounded to me.
yeah, Star Trek, they go to a planet. Oh, look, they're all humans, but they've got ridges on, or they've got horns, they've got an
Yeah.
antenna, or they've got wings on their heads, you know, but they're all human shaped for the most part, apart from like
Hmm.
one or two sort of creatures. In The Expanse, like, humanity has moved out off of Earth, they've gone to Mars, and they've gone to the asteroid belts and the moons of Saturn and Jupiter. Living in those environments will cause changes because
Hmm.
you adapt to the environment you're in. So all those,
Stunties.
yeah,
That's how we got squats.
yeah. So squats come from high grav worlds, so that's why they're
Yeah.
short. You know, so so like the belters are meant to be quite tall and spindly because they're in a lower grav environment. Same with sort of the Martians. They've changed to their environment. You know, it's been a couple of generations at least since Mars had settled, or a good few generations, sort of thing, since Mars was settled and all that, and the belt has been colonized and stuff. So you will see these noticeable differences between humans within the same solar system, you know, and it's all those prejudices that come up because somebody's different.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, they
but,
do it, and it makes sense because they do it in there in that show. It's like, all right, that's because of this, and they're all over in there, and
hey, Toffee Troll.
oh, Toffee, thanks for making it. Tyrat here. I am not. I'm having issue getting the depth I want on your paint over, so this one's going to take me a little extra time to put into it to get what I'm thinking of. I'm missing something that I want to do, and I'm like partially there, but I can't pull off the depth I want. But you will have a cool one when I'm done.
Yep, sci-fi, fantasy. We're always all over that.
Very true.
That's like, we haven't really talked a lot about June. Um,
No, I brought up some of that, just that show, which I love that thing. It was great for the lighting and just seeing some of the behind the scenes on like, filming it and all that. And I guess now, especially since I was doing more paint overs and stuff, it was kind of very applicable. Applicable.
applic- applicable,
Applicable? Applicable?
applic-
When I
applic-
say, what was the My Blue Heaven? It was like arugula, arugula or whatever. I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
I was for a second there. I was thinking of the guy out, the Sicilian out of Princess Bride.
Oh
You
yeah.
can see the bird. um, I'm a Sicilian. A Sicilian.
What's the
You can't try
thing?
to check me. Um, he was again. That was a film I was watching the other week. I just thought, I haven't seen that for a while. It was Hotel New Hampshire, which
Oh.
had Jodie Foster in it, Rob Lowe. Um,
Wait, Jodie Foster, she hasn't been around in a while. Have I seen? I used to like Jodie Foster. Has she been in anything? She hasn't been in anything recently, does she?
not, not that can't remember. I think like Panic
Yeah,
Rooms, the last things I
yeah, I
remember.
didn't see anything like that, and I like the one actress too who she replaced her in the movie
Oh,
in the Hannibal. I don't know.
Juliet Moore. Juliet Moore.
Okay, yeah, I liked hers. I might even have liked her more than Jodie Foster in that role, but I still like Jodie Foster.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, did Jodie Foster do two, or was she just done she only done Silence of the Lambs, or did she do a second one? Did she do Hannibal? Or was that?
I think she only did one. If I could be totally wrong, but
Uh,
yeah, I think I will end up
that's
ending.
bug.
Are you streaming this weekend, Lee?
Yes, I should be streaming this week. For a second, I just got onto IMDb and I clicked up and I thought, oh my god, it's Juliet Moore, but it's not. It's one of the Olsen twins.
Oh, okay.
My god, she's like a young Juliet Moore.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, I should be. It's Saturday, isn't it? Juliana Moore. Yeah, sorry,
Ah,
Julia.
that's what it
Yeah,
is.
um, she's on. Uh, oh, I've just accidentally found film about Hannibal. Not Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Barker, who is the guy who took the elephants over the Alps, and it's
Oh
got
yeah.
Alexander Siddig in it, who was they've got my Harble. Woohoo! I've got
Blood
to try.
Medusa said Jody only in Silence of the Lambs.
Mm.
There. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Thanks for everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. It's fun. Like I always get excited now doing this. It's kind of like therapy to me. Like I get to like just vent about nerdy stuff that doesn't mean anything, and it feels great. So I appreciate everyone stopping by to add to the
yeah.
conversation.
Sorry. Yeah, because Jodie only done the first one, Juliana Moore done the second one, and the third one was the prequel, which was Red Dragon,
Oh yeah,
the one with Will
yeah.
Graham, and then they've done a TV series of Hannibal, which is awesome, which is definitely well worth a watch.
Okay, is
Uh,
I started. I should watch that. I heard good things about it when it was.
yeah, it's the whole sort of dynamic between Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter.
Hmm.
Or you can always just watch Manhunter, the original version of the stories of Hannibal Lecter ish, because he turns up as a big character played by Brian Cox in that. And the guy who plays Will Graham went on to do CSI. He was the first main dude in CSI,
Oh
um,
wow, okay.
which I can't remember his name.
Oh, this will
But
be
he had,
cool. I'll get this. So, Tyrat, if you're looking at this, I don't like the look, but I'm getting somewhere. So this thing will be cool by the time I'm done. I'll get some good lights and stuff glowing on here. I'm kind of lost in my approach. I've narrowed it down. I know what I'm trying. It's just as soon as I get the depth right, I'll be able to do something good with this.
he will get it done. Don't worry. He's
Yeah. But it's the principle. That's what bothers me about doing it. Everything's like it's just the point. Like I feel like I've been doing art for so long, and then you still struggle, and you feel like you're half stupid. It's like, dude, you've drawn and played with light for this long, and you still like half clueless through the process. I don't understand it.
Blood Medusa. She loved Hannibal, the TV series. So if she loves it, it's got to be quality. you,
Yeah,
you
I'll have
can
to
take
check it
that to
out.
the bank.
That's a good thing. And then I don't know if Blood Medusa, do you stream or anything? I don't think.
I think she's too busy doing commission work
Yeah,
and
that's
paint
what I think. I don't think that. But why does Hannibal in that series make the dishes look so appetizing?
because he's an artist. You know, he's done
Yeah.
the whole premise of preparing
Hey,
a well made meal. You
it
know,
is environmentally sound. It's like
yeah.
probably the best.
But that's the thing. It's like there was one of the other Hannibal movies, the one without. It was like young Hannibal,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Oh, I
never been
remember
able to
that.
watch. I watched the start of it, but it was when
I remember that
him and
now.
his sister,
Yeah, he did.
and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
what happened there. I couldn't watch it because it upset. It really that sort of thing. I
Yeah,
get really upset over, and I couldn't watch it. Um,
yeah,
like that, the beginnings of why. So you can understand why he got that predilection to eating people, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah.
But I didn't like seeing it, and I just could
Yeah,
not
for
watch,
sure.
you know. But
No, I can
the other
understand
things like
that.
Hannibal and and all that, I quite enjoyed. Was quite very enjoyable, especially like Inspector Patsy when he was out in Florence.
Oh, yeah. You don't, yeah, that dude in his own way had it coming. Not that he deserved it, but you're skirting with the.
Yeah, it was
You
just
don't play, like, you play, what, stupid games, win stupid prizes or something?
oh, is it Mason Verger as well? And that's the thing. It's like that's when you sort of start rooting for Hannibal because like
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
you, know,
dude, come
you
on. You
go,
know you're what you're messing with. Like, don't do it.
yeah, he Mason Verger was like paedophile asshole, tosspot sort of thing, and Hannibal dealt with him
Yeah,
in a certain way, and that's the thing. It's like you can have a person who's going around and say he doesn't just eat anybody.
no,
Yeah,
no, no. That's what. Yeah, yeah. It's they gained a lot. That's the same they did with what's his face on that
Dexter,
the where. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dexter.
Dexter. Yeah. Have you been watching the new series?
No, what is it on?
Um, Over here, it's on Sky Atlantic, so probably
Huh. Okay, I'll have to look because I got all the services, but I don't think I have like
it'll
HBO.
probably be on
All.
Fox. I thought.
Yeah, it's probably okay. I'll look
Because
it
that's
up.
what it
I
used to
didn't.
be on.
Oh wait, it's okay. Okay, interesting. I'll look it up because no, I haven't.
And actually, just what I'm up to date on that as well, and that is actually quite. It's actually quite good. It's like Dexter, the Next Generation,
Hmm.
in some respects. But it's I loved Dexter when it was out, and I
Yeah,
watched it religiously and just kept on, watching and like all the different like story arcs in there as well. The different killers, the Trinity Killer, the Icebox Killer, and all that sort of stuff. Like his adversaries, but again, he was going after the wrong people. Um,
yeah,
he, and that's why you sort of get behind him because he's taking out the trash,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
and that's why you don't mind him being a serial killer.
I know it's so bad, and that's what like a lot of it. Especially I was kind of grim dark stuff, and you're doing that. I think you get older, and I'm like, and it was like too much. I think I hate the TV, they'll see something successful and then everybody copies it because they're all chasing the buck, right? So you'll get like at one point there was no like I didn't see like gritty violence, and then it was like, oh yeah, I want like some gritty violence, and then everything would be gritty violence. I'm like, no, I didn't say I want everything to be gritty violence. I just want like a couple things I could see that would be gritty violence, and then like I want a lot of. I was so happy to see whatchamacallit, the what's the soccer one? Ted Lasso. Like I was like, finally, you're doing a good, like a feel good kind of happy show that has a point. And I was like, I thought that was missing for so long. I'm like, get some like variety. I'll watch, like I'll put a bunch of stuff on kind of in the background, but they were all becoming samey.
Mm. I think another sort of funny, feely goody in a way thing was The Good Place.
I never
If you
watched that one.
that's actually really entertaining. That is
Okay,
is quite good.
interesting.
Because again, I came to that late as well. So, um, but yeah, Ted Lasso. As soon as I knew, because I remember when
The
what it was one of the American,
ESPN.
yeah, someone like that started doing the Premier League football
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2012, and they'd done a whole like 3-4 minute piece with Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso, and he was managing. Um, my football teams,
Oh,
Tottenham
that's
Hotspur,
hilarious.
and it's just like watching it because if you watch that, it is basically like the first episode of Ted Lasso,
Hmm.
but with the Greyhounds. But yeah, it's Ted Lasso is just such a great series. Like the first season, I've watched a couple of times
Yeah.
because it really does have that sort of nice, feel good feel to
And
it.
I loved I like you watching it first, like I loved what they did with what's her name, like Kaylee or whoever you would
Oh
almost
yeah,
think she's
yeah,
gonna be like some bimbo whatever,
yeah,
like typical, oh she's this, you know, and then it was like this great character, and I was like, gosh, that was one of the coolest characters in that series, just because you think it's gonna be some flaky whatever, and you know, it was like a great story arc for that character in that, and I dug
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, she's it's funny enough. The Rebecca's husband, her ex-husband,
Yep.
he has his young flame that
Yep.
he gets pregnant. Her her real name is Keeley.
Oh yeah, okay.
She used to be a glamour model in like the British press. She was
Oh, okay.
'cause over here we have newspapers that used to have topless women in
Yeah.
on page 3, which was on us.
Oh, that's
She
funny.
used to be a topless glamour model, topless model, or
Okay.
whatever. I don't know, she did, like
I
model
didn't know
stuff.
that's where that character came, you know, where she came
But
from
no,
to
she
play
didn't
on.
come from that. But it's just funny that you got Keeley, and then you've
Yeah.
got the actress playing this woman is actually Keeley, and she was sort of from that world in a way, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not as modelling because
Yeah, yeah,
Keeley's
yeah.
model first than anything. But yeah, Keeley's awesome. Roy Kent.
Oh, yeah.
There's only
I didn't
Roy
know he
Kent.
was the writer. I didn't know he was one of the writers. And then he was like, "Oh, this," and then they put him on the show, and then that was that. I'm like, "Wow, good for you."
Good old Roy.
And it was part what's what cracked me up is that is like, you know, I started doing the paintovers whatever year and a half or a little over or whatever it is now, but then that show comes out and it's like the American UK combo, and like half the people I deal with are all in the UK, you know, and so it's just funny that it's like you get the soccer with the football reference, and then it was the show while I'm doing a paintover and talking to more people in the UK than ever.
Yeah, Tyra Inc. The Good Place was so good, and still can't believe get over how perfect the ending was pulled. Yeah, they it was I would say it was perfect. You know, as a series, and you got the
Huh,
payoff.
good to know. Okay, good to
Yeah,
know.
so it's definitely worth watch. The one thing I am actually quite taken by at the moment, which is on Netflix, is Arcane.
Oh, see,
So
I told you. Did I tell you? I'm going to take credit for that, even if not, because I was tweeting it out and talking about it.
yeah, I saw a couple of tweets, so you might have been one of yours as well, because I was scanning through it. So like, oh yeah, Arcane. I remember somebody saying like, "How dare it be so good? How can it be?"
It didn't. The art
It seems
style
long
drew
that
me in
it's
instantly. Like so the art style got me because it felt like little paintings moving. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. And then it had great cinematography, and then I thought like they did really good with all the characters. You know, I was like, oh wow.
the one that got me. You've got Shora Agadishu, who plays Avasarala in The Expanse. She's
Oh, okay.
the police chief,
All right.
and I heard you hear her voice, you know it's her, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's in this. Midnight Mass. Yeah,
I
again.
enjoyed that. Those usually aren't like I did enjoy Midnight Mass. I thought that was actually a good one.
And Blood Medusa again. She's watched The Good Place twice. It's that good.
Oh, see,
Uh,
okay, all right. So the good place might I might have to put that on a
good,
rotation
like
one day in there.
Ted Danson in there. It's just brilliant. All the characters in there as well just really just work, and you do sort of uh, There's one character I think that you're gonna like. He's called Jason. Um, you're gonna have to watch it and
I
just
will.
with Jason. Jason is just awesome.
All right, I'll
Uh,
remember that
Arcane is beautiful. I have no interest in League of Legends, the game at all, but I
one.
love.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
so
Same thing
um,
here. I had no interest in that, and I saw, I was like, dude, it's beautiful, and I like
hmm,
my anime. Oh, if you are into animated shows at all, make sure you watch Primal by butcher his name, Gedden Tartatovsky or
Armageddon.
something. No, yeah, but check out Primal. I think there's like 3 words in a whole 10 series thing, and it's probably the my favorite animation I ever seen.
Hmm.
It's brilliant.
I'll take the list. Jacksonville. Yeah, Ryan knows Jason. Jacksonville.
I love these chats.
Honestly, you've got to watch it now because
I
you know
will, because everyone
it
suggests
does
it
take a few
now, and they're all
episodes for
making jokes. So
Jason to come out of his shell, um, and you'll realise why it takes him a few episodes for him to come out of his shell.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, Jason is just brilliant. I love him. All the characters in there are just they all have their own little niche, and the whole story behind the Good Place as well is just really fascinating. And as I said, like Ted Danson um, playing Michael. Yeah, no,
yeah.
you got to watch it because I'm not going to
I
spoil it
will
for you.
then. Yeah, no, I'll check it out for sure. Well, I think that's a good time to end it. I have a lot of work to do on these paint overs, but I will get them all out over the course of the next week and get them to you. And always, as usual, appreciate everyone who swung by. Thanks for the chat time. Lee will be streaming Saturday. If
Yeah,
I don't, if we're
Saturday
probably,
8 p.m. GMT,
yep,
which is about 3 p.m. EST.
yep. And so I will try to swing by this weekend and check it out. And I think that kind of covers it. Blood Medusa says my favorite is, how do you spell it?
Coach
Chidi?
Chidi, yeah, Chidi, yeah. They're all really good characters, and yeah, no, you go watch it because we can't say stuff, but you
Yeah.
just sort of thing
I'm
because
odd
yeah,
man out
Chidi,
on my own
Chidi's too good
show.
for this world. And so is, and to a lesser extent, so is Jason. uh, yeah, it's oh yeah.
What's the channel?
Jacksonville.
What I don't know why I said what's the channel. I'm missing what reference. But I think let me get this. Where oh no. I'm gonna end up still working on this for a little while. I gotta go feed everyone and then
Oh,
I
yeah,
think that's
right.
it.
My YouTube channel is the Forge of Mars. So
Oh.
like yeah, so if you search in YouTube, you'll find the Forge of
Bring if you
Mars.
have any whatchamacallit Adeptus Titanicus questions, bring them. That's the Lee's the man. So if you got any questions you want answered, dig them up and then go ask them on a stream. That's probably what I need to do.
I'm not, I'm so, I've got Jacksonville and Jason in my mind now. Jacksonville.
Now I'm gonna have to watch it.
You go no,
Yeah.
honestly.
All
When I
right.
speak to you, you're gonna have to. And when we're back
Yeah.
on next Wednesday, I want a book report from how many episodes you've watched, and why you love.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I want a book report on why you love The Good Place. But wait, I
Yeah,
haven't even seen it. Oh, I'll be able to save this. This will come out good when I get going. All right, all. I think I'm gonna end this here. Let me see. I gotta make sure I'm all. There we go. Hit the end button. You all have a good evening, night, morning, wherever you're at.